I wanted to do this video because I have a little bit of alone time in the house, and I wanted to talk a bit about what's been going on for the past couple weeks. This is very raw, very unfiltered. I don't have any makeup on. I just want this to be me talking. I'm sitting in a room in my house. The dogs are here, and I need to express this, but I've been going through, as all of us that have experienced trauma, I have been going through something that no one really knows about. And I've known about it. I've been suppressing it for a very, very long time, and 40 years. And about 2 weeks ago, I started reading this. I don't know if anybody has read this book by Amy Griffin, but 2 weeks ago, my world did a complete flip-flop when I started reading that book. It's an amazing book. It's so well written. It's so raw and explains her trauma that she went through as a child, kind of about the same age as myself. And to be honest with you, reading through it, getting, about halfway through the book, it kind of took the wind out of my sails. I was very, very, I don't want to say re-traumatized, because this has never been something that I've tried to deny to myself or anything, but it is very triggering. And I want you to know that if you are going to read this book, know that it's worth reading. I encourage everybody to read it who's going through stuff, but it's brought out some things in me that I haven't thought about in 40 years. And I feel very, very lost in a lot of ways, because I have been through many, many different types of therapies over the years. And as I mentioned before, traditional therapy has not worked for me, and nor do I have any interest of trying traditional therapy. But I know people that it's been life-changing for, that it's really helped. So this is just my personal journey. And I feel that it's time for me to address it. I've been doing a lot of research, and she did a lot of research, and she found that there's a psychedelic drug therapy out there that I'm very, very interested in. I really feel like I'm gonna try that. I found a place here in Florida who does it. I've inquired with them about it, and I'm gonna probably start treatment sooner than later. The reason why I'm recording this is because I'm gonna share the journey, the step-by-step journey that I go through with it. As soon as I read about this treatment that she had, because part of my trauma is major memory loss. I don't remember a lot of what happened. And I think part of that is good, because there's a reason why our brains do that when you go through things, but there's also a part that is healing, and you can move on from that once you remember that trauma with the correct care and guidance, which is what I'm seeking, the same treatment that Amy got in her book. And when I read about the treatment she got, I almost fell over, because I've done so much research over the years. I never even knew this existed. And this has existed for decades. I mean, they really started doing this in the 70s, the psychedelic therapy. And back when my trauma first started, it was available, but I don't know if, people just thought it was voodoo or, some crazy kind of treatment or whatever. But this wasn't suggested to me or to my parents in all the years of treatment. And back then, this was in the 80s. We didn't have internet then, cell phones, the resources that we have now to do research, and even the counselors and therapists and psychotherapists and priests and clergy, whoever back in the day that, I would talk to either knew about it and didn't believe in it or didn't know. So you don't know what you don't know. Fast forward to now, I just got back from this amazing vacation that I was able to finish the book on this vacation. The vacation itself was very therapeutic for me. We went with some other couples, but I was able to have the alone time that I needed to finish the book and really reflect on what I needed to do next. I guess what will be my next move. And I don't know. I finished because in this book, she, with her abuser and assault, she did not get justice. So if this is a little, if I'm spoiler alert for you, and I was very interested in finishing that quickly because I wanted to know if she got justice, and she didn't. I've looked at the laws in my state where I'm from, and that is not a route that I can go either because the statute of limitation has run out. So I'm not going to be pursuing that route just because, as the attorneys that she worked with during her ordeal, they told her, you can go after them civilly, but you're going to spend years in court. It's going to break down your life and there's going to be zero outcome. And that's something that I just do not choose to go that route. I'm just going to have faith that karma will take care of all that and pray that nobody else has survived this with these people from my assault. But that being said, I also feel, because I, just finished the book recently, I also feel that there might be a light at the end of the tunnel. I feel like I've been that whole fight or flight mode that everybody says that you're in when you go through a traumatic event. I feel like my whole life I really haven't been sure what my purpose is. I feel like I've been fake it till you make it, as the saying goes, and it's worked for me great. I've had a decent career and have been happy, but it's not working for me anymore. It's finally caught up to me, and I think it's because I've suppressed all of this down from, instead of, facing it. And middle age now, fast forward, I'm finally facing it, and it's never too late. I wish I had the tools and the knowledge that I have now to do this in my 20s and 30s, 40s even. But I didn't, so it is what it is. You don't look back. However, I do need to look back some to, I think, face this, have peace, and move on with my life and get my life on track, because I kind of have an idea what my purpose is. I feel this is part of it because I really do want to help people. I want to be a sounding board for people that, have really been through a lot, that can relate. I mean, there's very, very few people in my life who have been through anything close to the traumas that I've been through that could relate, that I would even feel safe talking to. So that's one thing for me. I want to be a safe place for people, but I also want you to experience this through me going through it. Apparently, with this psychedelic treatment, I think it's a few treatments. You get a few treatments, and it's supposed to make you feel in touch with what happened. I'm sure that there's some scary things that come up during it, but to keep suppressing it is gonna, you kind of have to go through the darkness to see the light. And that's exactly what I'm feeling right now that I need to do. So I want to read a little capture about this book, and you can do your own research on it. But she is speaking with her practitioner or therapist at this point, and it's a medicine. It's called MDMA. And she asks, isn't it the same thing as ecstasy? And she goes, sort of. Ecstasy that you'd buy on the street isn't always the same compound, and sometimes it's contaminated with other things, she said. Regardless, it is a therapeutic session, which is quite different from a party or a rave where you use ecstasy. You use pure MDMA, and the setting is designated to orient you inward. He continues to ask what happens during the session. I give you a first dose of the pill. Then I'll give you eye shades and play relaxing music, and I'll stay with you throughout the process and take notes on your experience if you ask me to. Will you guide me through the session? Amy asks. No, she said. I'm not there to shape your experience, only to support you throughout. I won't interfere or prompt you in any way, so you can turn inward and focus on your own wisdom. And after, I can help you integrate what you've learned. So what exactly happens to the person? What do you feel? Each person has a different experience, the therapist said. But I would describe it as meeting your most compassionate, loving self, encountering your deepest knowing. And then she asked you, do it only once? And she said, it's up to you. Many people do multiple sessions. They're spaced out at least a month apart, but you'll know in the first session if it's something you want to continue. So when it said that it brings you to the most compassionate, loving self and encountering your deepest knowing, I was interested. Because being very big into meditation, which, as some of you know, I've really gotten into the past 5 years. It was kind of a gift to myself when I turned 50. Actually, even before 50. But I wanted to be a good practitioner, I guess, by the time I turned 50. And one big part of meditation is like envisioning your highest self, like the most amazing version of you coming to you and giving you the most loving hug, and looking through your eyes at your highest self of how you really want to perceive yourself and be seen and feel. So that's really a big part of my meditation practice that I do. And it's really, really helped me so much over the years, because sometimes if I'm down on myself or I'm not having a good day or whatever, I just try and remember this version of myself that I see. And it's me. It's just a much more wonderful version of me that comes down, almost like an angelic version, I guess. And so when I heard that, like, that's what I need. Like, I need to be guided and loved and have compassion and feel comforted. And that's what I've always wanted, like almost like a security blanket. But I need to feel safe. And the biggest thing with the psychedelic therapy, there's other types of psychedelic therapy as well. You can do your own research, but the biggest thing with this is trust in your provider who's doing it for you. I already talked to them. I found this place here and I've already talked to them. I gave them, very high level of my story, what I've been through. I filled out my intake form in detail, and it was probably like the beginning of a book. It was pretty detailed with the questions they asked. And I'm waiting. The doctor is going to be looking at my case and is going to determine, because they also do hypnosis. They do all different kinds. So the doctor is going to determine what they feel is the right route for me to go and the right therapy. I was very clear that I did not want traditional therapy. I don't want to sit in a room or even if it's telehealth. I don't want to sit there for an hour session and be talking in circles and be talking about all these things and going back to when I was 5 years old, like things like that, where I feel like it's going to take months before we get to the root of the problem. This is designed to get to the root of the problem very quickly. Like the quicker you address it, the quicker you get over it. And it's kind of like putting yourself through another trauma in a way, because you kind of have to face it head on. And I'm at the point in my life, like, no more bullshit. Like, I want to be the best version of myself. I want to be the best, daughter and sister and friend and partner that I can possibly be, fur baby mom. I want to be the best person of myself for all these people in my life that are important to me and that I love. And I haven't been. I know I haven't been. And I'm not going to get down on myself for it, because I know why. Because when you go through an extreme trauma, you don't know how to listen to your body. Your body is trying to tell you what you're going through. And it could have to do with weight loss. It could have to do with no motivation. It could have to do with, you need to eat the right things, but you don't. It could have to do with a serious addiction I have, which is ice cream. Like, I am addicted to ice cream. Anybody that knows me knows I have a problem. That could be part of it. It could be as small as just, like, in the morning when I wake up, I don't like noise. I don't like bright lights. I want it to be dim, quiet. I just like to have a really nice, peaceful morning. I love sitting outside and listening to the birds. A lot of people like to wake up and crank up the music and stuff like that. And there's a time during my day and my week that I like that as well. But for some reason, my mornings, I just like quiet. Another thing that a lot of people through trauma go through, and you learn this in the research I've done, and Amy even talks about this in the book, is people like to move to busy cities. Like, I've lived all over in busy cities. I've been back to my hometown a few times and moved back there. Never really felt like I really wanted to make that my forever home, as much as I love it. And I love going back. I just never felt like this is going to be my forever place. But I've moved all over. And part of trauma is people move a lot, and they like Amy moved from this great little town to New York City because they want the noise and chaos, because it masks what's going on. I'm an extrovert and I'm type A personality, but I feel like the past few years since I've been doing this work, and I've been really honing in on me and everything I've been through. And don't get me wrong, I've had a lot of pity parties for myself, like, why does all this have to happen to me? But I also don't want it to happen to somebody else in spare of me. But, I really feel like, because I meditate all the time and I'm constantly thinking, I almost feel like I'm kind of turning into an introvert, because I'm really liking quiet time. I really like the lights being dim, and I guess you would call it mood lighting in some things, but I almost feel like I'm kind of turning into an introvert. Isn't that so weird? And I'm a Sagittarius, which Sagittarius are never introverts. So I don't know, or maybe it's just me maturing and becoming comfortable in my own skin and who I am, and just chilling out, and I'm not acting like a crazy 30-year-old anymore. I don't know. But there's been so many signs, like my body has, and I don't even know all of them. Like, this is why I'm hoping to discover, going through this therapy, like I can discover like how to hone in on the signs my body is showing me, because your body gives you signs every single minute of the day. And if you don't listen to them, like right now, I feel like I'm at a state right now, like I'm 75% of the person I want to be. I need that guidance to get over this hump of where I'm at, to be the best version of myself. And I feel like after reading this and doing the research, I feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I never have felt like there was a light at the end of the tunnel. And honestly, up until I started reading this, I didn't realize how much I need to address this, like how much I just have to face it and then put it to rest. And so while I'm doing this, I'm going to take you on this journey with me every step of the way. Like I said, I just finished my intake form and did my initial consultation, and I'm going to let you know exactly what happens. I will film some of it. A lot, I guess, comes out when you're doing this because they're micro doses that they give you, and you remember everything. You know, it's nothing like that, and you're guided, but I am going to share some of those sessions with you just so you can see what it's like, what I'm like. Like, I don't know, am I going to be totally zoned out, or am I going to be like, woo, you know, I have no idea. So I want to share that with you and share with you how I'm feeling before, how I'm feeling after, maybe some highlights of what was discussed and what I've learned, because from what I'm hearing, everybody that has gone through this has transformed their life. And it's been life-changing, and it happens very quick. A lot of people I'm reading, it happens in like 2 to 3 sessions. It's that quick because it just gets right down to the point, no bullshit. And you know, I've talked a lot about my boyfriend with this the past couple of weeks and stuff, and he's like, and this is a really valid point because he loves me, and he's like, I don't want you to come out of this a different person. And it makes me sad, you know, that he's worried about that. And so when I was, when I was doing my call with them, I asked that question. You know, I said, my boyfriend, you know, we talk about this a lot, and he's all for me doing this. He's like, he knows that this is something that I need to, experiment with and explore. But I asked them that, you know, and they said, you absolutely will come out a different person, but you're going to be the best version of yourself. And they said there's never been an instance with any of their patients or clients, patients/clients, whatever, they're patients because they're providers, that somebody has come back worse or, you know, like a totally different person. It'll still be me, but it'll be the best version of me or an improved version of me. Because I mean, we can't be 100% of the time anyway, even if you don't have trauma. So that was one of the questions I asked, and I shared that with him and stuff. And he still has some more questions, and he's doing his own research too, because let's face it, he's the one that lives with me. So, you know, he's being a little cautious as well, but he's very open and supportive. But I just feel like I said, I feel like I'm excited, I'm hopeful. And I just wanted to hop on here and share this very raw, unedited version of this because, well, I don't even know how to edit anyway. So you're getting like the rawness of it. I mean, you're lucky I even have a bra on right now, to be honest, if I'm being totally honest. But I just feel like I'm excited. I'm excited for anyone, even one person, to share this journey with me because I feel like it will help somebody. And there's people out there. It was shocking when I've been researching the past couple weeks that 50% of us will go through some kind of trauma in our lives. It's very unfortunate, but 50% of us will go through some kind of trauma. It might not be an assault, but it might not be a horrific accident like I was in, but 50% of us will. And the majority of that is women, unfortunately. And as Amy was saying in her book, The Tell, 1 in 3 women will be sexually assaulted. And that just breaks my heart because I feel like, I think of my niece. You know, my niece is a preteen. going to be a tween in a few years, and I want her to be safe. I don't want her to ever go through what me and many other people have gone through. And in Amy's book, she was assaulted by somebody she trusted, a teacher at her middle school, that made her feel like he knew exactly how to manipulate her and made her feel exactly like she was the best ever student at that school and the role model for the school. And he was an authority figure. And she says in there with her own girls that she does not want her girls to not question authority figures, because you trust authority figures, you trust people like that, but you have to be cautious, because sometimes it's not just strangers. Sometimes it's the people you trust the most. And so in her case, that's what happened. And so I want to teach my niece this, I want you to be respectful to authority figures, and I want them to be a big part of your life and have an impact on your life. But if something doesn't feel right, I want you to trust your intuition. And these are things that she's very spirited. She's like me. And these are things that I want to, very gently kind of teach her as she's growing and getting older, because we talk all the time. And I want her, and she is very smart and very witty, and she picks things up very quick. So all I can do is teach her how to listen to her intuition, to meditate. I meditate with her and my nephew. We meditate together. And to also, if there is an authority figure and something feels off, to trust that feeling. If you're somewhere, if you're at a sleepover, whatever, with your girlfriends, something feels off, trust that feeling and go get help or go someplace safe. And that, I don't want, growing up back in our day, and I believe Amy mentions this as well, we're taught to respect authority figures and not question them. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry. After you hear that so many people are violated by authority figures and people we trust because they know how to manipulate. So this is something that I'm hoping that I can spread on to my niece and even my nephew, because I don't want, because boys get violated as well. And I want them to be strong enough that they trust their gut. When I was that age, I don't even know if I still know who I am. I'm much better, but at that age, I sure as hell didn't know. So these are things that I'm hoping this therapy will help me with and give me the tools I need to get past it. To say I'm excited is an understatement. I'm like excited. I'm scared. I don't know what to expect. It's kind of like going on a roller coaster, but I'm going to take you along the journey with me. And as I'm going through it, I will share it. And as a trauma rock star, you being a trauma rock star, we are in this together. And again, this is a safe place. And, be supportive and, let's get through this. Let's help each other. Talk to you soon. The content on this podcast revolves around personal life experiences and is meant to serve as a learning tool. I'm not a certified therapist or medical expert. This podcast does not offer medical or psychological or professional advice. If you're curious about your mental and physical well-being, feel free to reach out to a licensed healthcare professional for assistance.